yourself and your family. You embarrassing yourself. You are embarrassing yourself.
Welcome back to Rap Dispatch. Glad you're here. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss the daily drops because this situation is straight chaos. That's T.I. caught on camera putting his own son in a headlock at an NFL game right there on national TV. The clip spread across the internet in seconds and people couldn't stop replaying it. But that shocking moment was only the beginning.
I've been keeping up with this 50 Cent versus T.I. drama. If not, let me fill you guys in. So this whole thing started over a potential versus battle, 50 versus T.I. And at first 50 was down to do it, but allegedly he backed out and started acting a little funny about the whole situation.
Behind the scenes, things got even messier when T.I. suddenly sparked a heated feud with 50 Cent. And this wasn't just friendly competition. What happened next had the whole culture stunned. What started as a playful call-out between two rap legends quickly spiraled into one of the ugliest, most disrespectful beefs hip-hop has seen in years.
T.I. originally said the versus battle was supposed to be about celebrating catalogs, but now he questions 50's character and said he straight up doesn't respect.
Names started getting dragged everywhere. Mothers getting mentioned. Wives pulled into the drama. Sons caught in the middle while group chats across the industry lit up roasting entire legacies. At that point, it didn't even feel like rap beef anymore. This looked like straight-up war. Then, just when everybody thought T.I. and 50 were ready to take this feud all the way, T.I. suddenly flipped the script. Out of nowhere, he did the unthinkable. He actually reached out and apologized. But hold on, we're not there yet. Because the road to that apology is packed with deleted posts, brutal diss tracks, messy family drama, and moments so wild even seasoned rap veterans were cringing. And if you think the 50 Cent drama was the craziest part, think again. The next chapter shifts to T.Y.'s son, King Harris, and a heated moment the internet still can't stop replaying. Back when T.I. and 50 Cent were dominating the rap game from opposite sides of the country, hip-hop was in a serious golden era. Tip was holding things down heavy in Atlanta, proudly repping Bankhead every step of the way. Meanwhile, 50 Cent was coming straight out of Queens, flying that South Jamaica flag high. Both of them had street credibility that nobody could question. This wasn't some industry-built tough guy image. These two earned their stripes the hard way, and the streets respected it. For years, it looked like there was real respect between them. They crossed paths at award shows, music festivals, and major industry events with no public tension. No slick comments, no drama. Everything seemed calm on the surface. But under that calm, something was quietly building. When two alpha personalities move in the same jungle, things can get tense fast. In hip-hop, your status isn't just about hit records. It's about who moves the culture, whose name stays ringing in the streets, and who really holds weight in the game. That unspoken question about who ranked higher between them started hanging in the air like a storm cloud. Then the Versus era arrived when fans were begging to see legendary matchups, and that's when T.I. dropped a serious bombshell. He claimed that during a promo run in Los Angeles, he and 50 Cent made a private handshake agreement. According to Tip, the plan was simple. T.I. would call 50 out publicly, 50 would accept, and the fans would finally get the epic showdown they had been waiting for. Two heavyweight catalogs packed with classic anthems were supposed to collide, hit for hit, bar for bar. A battle that could have gone down as one of the biggest moments in hip-hop history. This was the kind of showdown that locks your legacy forever. But when it was finally time to make it happen, T.I. says, the line suddenly went dead silent. No reply, no confirmation, nothing but pure crickets. In hip-hop, that kind of silence hits different, especially when you expected someone to stand tall beside you, 10 toes down, and ready for the moment to tip. That wasn't just a disappointment. In his eyes, it felt like a straight violation of the code. By early 2026, the frustration had clearly been building for a long time. I finally sat down on Nightcap with Shannon Sharp and Ocho Cinco, and when he started talking, there were no slick hints or quiet jabs. It was a full-on call-out.
That's when things went left. 50 hopped on social media and posted a really bad photo of Tiny, T.I.'s wife. A lot of people were saying the picture looks edited, but either way, folks were like, what does Tiny have to do with it?
You could hear years of tension in his voice. This wasn't about chasing views or trending online. For Tip, this felt personal. For months, blogs, timelines, and hip-hop pages had been pushing rumors and cryptic posts about the situation. But T.I. didn't hide behind rumors. He jumped on a national platform and said it loud, claiming Curtis 50 Cent Jackson was dodging the smoke and letting the respect between them slide. And 50 didn't waste any time firing back. He jumped straight on Instagram and started tossing jokes, posting old clips connected to T.I.'s past legal troubles and dropping a meme styled like a fake PSA that said, "Forget verses. Let's do the stay away challenge and keep our distance." Then he slapped a big LOL on it. Classic 50. Turning the whole situation into a punchline before a single diss track even dropped. But I wasn't laughing at all. Then 50 pushed things even further. He called Tip King Rat on Instagram, dragging up those old snitching rumors tied to T.Y.'s 2007 federal firearms case. That move didn't just stir the pot, it ripped open one of the darkest chapters in T.Y.'s career right in front of millions of people. In hip-hop, getting labeled a rat is one of the worst things that can happen to your name. Worse than being called washed. Worse than being irrelevant. Once that stain hits your reputation, it follows you forever, no matter how many platinum plaques you hang on the wall. But Tip wasn't about to sit there and wear that label quietly. Not this time. He fired back fast and made it clear he wasn't accepting that title. I claimed the real story was different and said he even had paperwork that told another side of the situation. Then he threw a direct challenge at 50 Cent, telling him to either step into the ring and settle things or stop throwing shots from a distance. The internet went wild, watching the two. Legends trade blows online. Posts, memes, subtle jabs. Every hip-hop page was locked in. But deep down, everybody knew the real damage wouldn't happen in comment sections.
From there, King Harris, T.I.'s son, entered the chat and said, stop playing with his mama. He basically took to Instagram defending his mom and telling 50 Cent to stop playing with her, and he even mentioned 50 Cent's dead mom and said to dig her up.
In rap, the real response always lands on wax. And when Tip finally spoke, he made sure the whole world heard it loud and clear. On February 22nd, he sat down on $1 million worth of game and laid everything out. Every detail, every conversation, every part of the story. He explained how he and 50 supposedly had a private agreement behind the scenes to set up the Versus battle. According to Tip, the plan was already in motion until he made it public and suddenly 50 started acting like none of it ever existed. Fans could feel the frustration. This wasn't just rap trash talk anymore. Pride, respect, and legacy were all on the line. But T.I. wasn't done yet. The very next day, February 23rd, he came back swinging again. He teased fans with a diss track snippet titled War, making it clear he was ready for battle. Then just hours later, the full track dropped. And that's when everything exploded. Those bars hit like a wrecking ball, sharp, personal, and straight to the point. I didn't just question 50 Cent's toughness. He went straight after the image that helped turn Curtis Jackson into a global powerhouse. On the track, Tip painted 50 as nothing more than a social media boss running a meme page, someone trolling from behind a phone instead of stepping up like a real heavyweight in the ring. But then, things went into even more dangerous territory. In one of the most controversial lines on the record, T.I. took a jab involving 50 Cent's late mother, and that moment shook the entire culture. And that's a line many rap veterans refuse to cross no matter how heated a beef gets. The internet exploded instantly. Half the timeline praised Tip for going bar for bar with one of rap's most ruthless lyricists. The other half slammed him hard, saying he crossed a serious line by bringing up someone who had passed away. At that point, this wasn't just another diss track floating around hip-hop. The energy felt darker, more personal, way beyond what fans expected. But if Tip's record was the earthquake, what 50 Cent did next felt like the aftershock that turned the whole situation nuclear. Out of nowhere, 50 jumped on Instagram and posted an unflattering photo of T.I.'s wife, Tiny, with a caption warning Tip to keep my name out your mouth. That single post flipped everything instantly. Now, a family member was dragged into the chaos, breaking one of the oldest unwritten rules in hip-hop. You don't pull family into the beef. From that moment on, the situation stopped being about rap. It got deeply personal.
After that, 50 responded the way 50 does, by trolling. He posted memes, reposted videos, and now T.I. hopped.
And that's when King Harris, the son of T.Y. and Tiny, stepped right into the fire with anger in his voice. Nobody saw it coming, but King Harris suddenly jumped on Instagram Live, and the emotion in his voice was impossible to miss. His voice was shaking, but he spoke his truth anyway. King looked straight into the camera and said, "Y'all was raised different. I'm not raised like that." The message felt raw and real. No filter, no hesitation. You could tell he meant every word. For him, the line had already been crossed. Mentioning his mother, Tiny, wasn't just rap talk or internet trolling anymore. That was family, and to King, that kind of disrespect was personal. The energy around the whole situation shifted instantly. What started as rap beef had now spilled into family business, and it was unfolding live for the entire internet to watch. Then King took things somewhere nobody expected. In the middle of that emotional moment, he fired back with a response that made the entire timeline freeze. He told 50, "Tell your mama to dig her up and post a picture that looks better than mama." People across social media were stunned. Screenshots spread everywhere. A young man speaking directly to one of the biggest figures in entertainment like that had everyone locked in. The moment was intense, raw, completely unfiltered, and it showed just how far this feud had spiraled. At that point, the culture could feel the shift. The line between music and real life had completely disappeared. But King Harris didn't back down. If anything, he came back even louder, doubling down with pure emotion. He made it clear this wasn't about fame, followers, or trying to go viral. This was a son standing up for his mother, and you could hear the pain in every word he said. This wasn't clout chasing. This wasn't some rehearsed verse from a studio session. This was real emotion spilling out in real time. A young man defending the woman who raised him, no matter what it cost. And of course, 50 Cent responded the way he always does, with memes. He posted an image comparing King Harris to Pepe the Frog, throwing shade at the entire family and even calling him ugly. It was cold, ruthless, and completely classic 50. That's his style. Turning someone else's emotional moment into viral internet content, the post instantly sent social media into chaos. Comment sections exploded. Reposts spread everywhere. Everybody suddenly had an opinion. Then something even more surprising happened. Tina Knowles, the mother of Beyoncé, stepped in publicly to defend Tiny, showing just how far this drama had spread. At that point, this situation wasn't just something hip-hop fans were watching anymore. The entire celebrity world had started paying attention. The feud had grown bigger than music. Major outlets were covering it. Fans were refreshing their timelines every few minutes, waiting for the next move. The tension was thick. Nobody knew if the next posts would be another joke or something way more serious. The energy had shifted from entertainment to real concern. People started wondering if this situation might go beyond the internet. Then came a twist nobody expected. By February 24th, 50 Cent suddenly switched gears. The memes stopped, the trolling slowed down, and out of nowhere he stepped into full boss mode. Meanwhile, T.I. was still in the booth, dropping diss tracks and defending his family. Then 50 Cent made a power move, but not the way anyone expected. Instead of firing back with another diss or meme, he switched lanes completely. 50 jumped online and announced that he had just sold out a Broadway production of Joe Turner's Come and Gone. He flexed the moment with a shocked face emoji and a caption that clearly sounded like a jab. He wrote something along the lines of, "While you're in the booth recording songs nobody asked for, I'm out here selling out shows you can't even get tickets to." That single post flipped the whole energy of the feud. Suddenly, this wasn't about street talk or lyrical battles anymore. 50 was reminding everyone that he's not just a rapper, he's a businessman, a mogul, and a major force far outside the studio. Just like that, the feud turned into something bigger, a full-on clash of legacies. No bars, no hooks, just pure success is the response. It was the kind of silent strike that lands harder than a diss track. Instead of trading insults, 50 shifted the conversation to one brutal question: who really holds power in 2026? And that's the kind of question T.I. probably didn't want the whole world debating. But King Harris still wasn't backing down, not even a little. He jumped back online defending his father again, this time pointing at 50 Cent's long history of beefs. King mentioned names fans know well: Lil' Kim, Kanye West, Ja Rule, even Floyd Mayweather. His message was clear. King argued that 50 has been clashing with people his entire career. He painted 50 as someone who constantly starts drama, not out of principle, but because controversy keeps the spotlight shining. Then came February 25th, 2026. The moment, everything. That was the day this feud jumped from internet drama into one of the most unforgettable moments hip-hop had seen in years. No warning, no caption, no explanation. Out of nowhere, 50 Cent wiped every single T.I.-related post off his Instagram. Gone. Deleted. Like the whole feud never even happened. Every meme, every diss, every trolling post. Completely scrubbed. The internet instantly went into chaos. Fans turned into detectives overnight, analyzing every move, every story update, every tiny detail, trying to figure out what just happened. Was 50 waving the white flag? Was he secretly preparing something bigger? Did lawyers step in, or was something serious happening behind the scenes that nobody on the outside could see? Because let's be honest, 50 Cent isn't known for backing down. This is the same man who went to war with Ja Rule, Rick Ross, Floyd Mayweather, and even entire record labels while laughing through the chaos. His reputation was built on pushing harder when things get heated. So, when he suddenly erased all the receipts from a feud he had been proudly fueling just hours earlier, people were stunned. It became one of the most shocking plot twists modern rap had seen. And that's exactly where the story takes a wild turn. Because according to sources close to both camps, T.I. made a move nobody saw coming. After days of brutal back-and-forth diss tracks, memes, and some of the most savage verbal shots hip-hop had seen in years, Tip reportedly reached out directly to 50's camp. Not through Instagram, not through public statements, not through industry middlemen. This was phone-to-phone communication. And according to people familiar with that call, the tone was completely different from the version of Tip the internet had been watching. No anger. No insults, no threats. Instead, the conversation was calm, serious, and honest. Something had clearly shifted. The same man who had been talking about war and smoke was suddenly ready to talk things out instead of escalating the fight. And that quiet move from Tip changed everything. Was the fire and fury suddenly replaced by something nobody expected? Humility. The word spreading through insider circles was simple but shocking. Apology. But don't get it twisted. This wasn't some desperate move with hands folded and pride gone. Nah, this felt different. This looked like a calculated decision from a grown man who stepped back and finally saw the bigger picture. According to sources, T.I. admitted the situation had gone way too far and that both sides crossed lines that should have never been touched. Dragging mothers, whether living or gone, into a feud between two hip-hop legends with decades of legacy behind them wasn't power. That was pain. And deep down, Tip understood that. This wasn't weakness, it was awareness. In a culture built on ego, pride, and saving face, that kind of self-reflection might actually be the boldest move someone can make. Tip had already made his feelings about respect clear during the chaos. He said straight up he didn't respect 50 anymore and didn't even want to share a stage with him. But there's a difference between losing respect for someone's actions and starting a war that ends up burning everything down in the process. See, T.I. isn't new to pressure. This is a man who has faced federal charges, served time, and rebuilt his life more than once. He's dealt with real battles, not just rap beef and social media drama. And somewhere in that storm, it hit him. this wasn't just about 50's reputation anymore. This feud was starting to damage his own world. The drama was pulling King deeper into the chaos, dragging Tiny further into the spotlight, and putting his entire circle at risk. For a man whose whole image is built around protecting his family, that equation just didn't make sense anymore. Sometimes being the strongest person in the room means protecting your peace instead of protecting your pride. And when you've spent your life being the rock for everyone around you, you can't let ego destroy the very house you worked so hard to build.
I dropped a diss track aimed directly at 50 Cent. In the song, he says something along the lines that 50 Cent isn't as tough as his son.
Now look at the timing. 50's mass deletion of posts lined up perfectly with this quiet shift happening behind the scenes. Think about it. If you're 50 Cent and the same man who's been tossing lyrical grenades at you for weeks suddenly reaches out with an olive branch, you don't respond with another meme. You clear the field. You wipe the digital slate clean and make space for whatever comes next. Peace, business, or maybe just a much-needed break from the chaos. And the proof is in the silence. Since February 25th, neither side has fired off a single public shot. No sneak disses, no subliminals, no shady captions. For two guys who had been posting nonstop every day, that kind of quiet felt loud. Something clearly shifted behind the scenes, and the entire culture could feel it. Of course, the skeptics had their theories too. And honestly, you can't even blame them for asking questions. Some people are saying this whole saga might have been one giant setup, a carefully planned rollout to build hype for T.I.'s long-awaited Kill the King album. From the first Verzuz call-out to the savage diss tracks, all the way to that unexpected apology, could this entire thing have been part of a master plan? Some fans think so. They believe Tip might have just pulled off one of the smartest publicity moves hip-hop has seen in years. Others aren't buying that at all. They believe this was real emotion, real tension, and a real moment of growth between two men who've carried the weight of their cities on their shoulders for decades. Either way, one thing is clear. Something serious happened between these two behind closed doors. Whether it was peace, strategy, or simply exhaustion from the drama, both sides suddenly went quiet. And that silence might be louder than any diss track ever dropped. Fans noticed the timing immediately, and you can't blame them for raising an eyebrow. The moment T.I. announced his final album, this sudden beef with 50 Cent exploded out of nowhere. Almost like it was perfectly timed. It felt like a classic industry move straight out of the marketing playbook. And honestly, that theory isn't crazy when you really think about it. Because let's keep it real. The music industry has been running on shock value and drama for decades. Fake feuds, staged controversies, strategic leaks, all of it designed to boost streams, grab headlines, and push albums. And if there's one thing people know about T.I., it's that he's sharp enough to play chess while everyone else is still learning checkers. Tip understands this business inside and out. Every headline, every trending hashtag, every heated comment online turns into free promotion. Even the chaos becomes part of the rollout when an album is on the way. So yeah, maybe the timing felt a little too perfect. But whether that apology came from the heart or from a smart PR decision, it still carried weight. Because one thing hip-hop almost never sees is someone who's winning publicly choosing to step back instead of pushing the situation further. That kind of move is rare. By February 20th, the Black Wall Street Times had already reported how serious the feud had become. And if hip-hop history has taught the culture anything, it's this. When beef gets too personal, it usually doesn't end peacefully. Too many times it ends in tragedy. So for Tip to choose communication instead of conflict might have been one of the realest moves of his career, because the truth is it takes a lot more strength to calm things down than it does to keep throwing shots. But here's the twist. That whole 50 Cent saga wasn't the only moment where T.I. found himself in a situation that went from tense to explosive. Long before the Verzuz call-outs, the diss tracks, the deleted posts, and the public apology, there was another viral moment that showed a Completely different side of Tip's life. This one had nothing to do with rival rappers or industry politics. This one was deeper. It touched on something every man understands at some point: the complicated and emotional relationship between a father and a son. Because what happened at that Atlanta Falcons game on November 26, 2023, is still being talked about today. Not because it was scandalous, but because it hit something real that a lot of people could relate to. It showed the raw, unfiltered side of fatherhood. The constant push and pull between a father trying to guide his son and a young man determined to prove he's already grown. That night was supposed to be simple: Falcons versus Saints. A regular Sunday in Atlanta. Earlier that day, T.I. was on social media posting clips, showing love to his kids, hyping up the game, just straight dad energy. Everything looked fun, relaxed, and full of family vibes.
So what was supposed to be just a versus rap battle ended up getting extremely personal, and the internet has a lot to say about it.
But nobody watching those posts had any idea that just a few hours later, that same family moment would flip completely upside down. What happened next inside that stadium, caught on camera for millions to see, revealed more about pride, parenting, and pressure than any diss track ever could. At first, everything looked perfect. A famous family sitting in a luxury suite at Mercedes-Benz Stadium, watching the Falcons like Atlanta royalty. Smiles, laughs, the whole scene looked picture perfect. But behind that moment, tension was already building, and the world was about to watch it unfold in real time. What started as a normal game night was suddenly turning into one of the most talked about father-son moments connected to hip-hop culture. It showed just how thin the line can be between love, frustration, and legacy when you're raising a son under the spotlight. Then suddenly King Harris hit the Instagram Live button, and within seconds, the whole mood changed. What viewers saw next wasn't a calm family moment anymore. The situation got heated and emotional fast. The argument escalated quickly, and the camera kept rolling while everything played out. Whether it was meant to be public or not, King made the choice to stream it. And that private family tension, broadcast to the world in real time, ended up shaping how millions of people now look at the relationship between King and his father, T.I. And once that red light came on, there was no shutting it down. No edits, no second takes, no undo button. Just raw, unfiltered emotion between a father and his son, T. I wasn't yelling just to win an argument. He was trying to teach a lesson. His words cut straight into a deep generational divide between a man who built everything from nothing and a son who grew up surrounded by the success his father fought for. During that live moment, Tip hit King with a question that cut right through the pride. Had he ever truly experienced struggle? Had he ever felt the hunger, the grind, the sleepless nights that shaped T into the man he became? That now famous Roach question wasn't random. It was a challenge to King's tough talk, a way of saying you can't borrow someone else's pain just to look strong online. I was reminding his son that the streets he came from weren't some stage or movie scene. They were real, rough, and unforgiving. The same environment that helped build his reputation could easily break someone who didn't truly understand what that life required. In that moment, he wasn't just speaking to King, he was sending a message to every young person trying to gain attention by pretending to come from hardship. Tip was calling out the obsession with street credibility, the idea that someone can wear struggle like it's a fashion brand without ever living through it. Because in his mind, visiting difficult places and actually surviving them are two completely different things, and one doesn't give you the right to claim the other. His message came through loud and clear. From T.I.'s point of view, King's tough image wasn't about survival. It looked more like a performance for attention, something built for likes and comments instead of real experience. And the wildest part was that millions of people were watching it happen live. They watched a father try to pull the illusion away from his son right there in real time. It wasn't just a family argument anymore. It became a lesson, a generational clash, and a brutally honest moment showing what happens when fame, pride, and family love all collide. on camera. For a young man trying to create his own path and step out from the massive shadow of his father, hearing those words in front of the whole world was intense. That was the spark that pushed the moment into chaos. That Instagram Live didn't just capture a disagreement, it exposed a generational clash about pride, identity, and what it really means to earn respect. The son who refused to back down met the father who refused to give in, and the entire internet watched the tension unfold in real time. The clip spread across social media like wildfire. Within minutes, timelines were flooded with reposts, reactions, analysis videos, and hot takes flying everywhere. Everyone suddenly had an opinion. Some people said it looked like normal father and son tension that just happened to be caught on camera. Others believed it revealed deeper issues inside a family that had always looked strong and united online. But no matter what side people took, one thing was clear. This wasn't gossip or entertainment. This was real life playing out in front of the culture, and it struck a nerve. That image of King in the headlock instantly turned into meme material online. But behind the jokes and viral clips, you could see the emotion on both of their faces. A father trying to be respected and a son trying to be understood. This wasn't about fame, money, or music. This was pride colliding with love in front of millions of viewers. And just like that, the Harris family became one of the most talked about households in hip-hop. What made things even more intense was how both of them responded afterward, because King jumped right back online, standing firm and speaking his truth. He made it clear he wasn't about to let anyone, not even his dad, treat him like that. King doubled down, saying he wasn't a kid anymore and deserved to be respected like a grown man. His tone carried both pain and defiance, the kind of raw energy that shows up when someone feels cornered and misunderstood. Meanwhile, T.I. tried to stay calm on his side, brushing it off publicly at first with a little humor and calling it family business. But anyone watching could tell the moment hit deeper than he let on. This wasn't some random person online challenging him. This was his own son. A young man who grew up surrounded by the success his father worked hard to build. Now that same son was questioning his authority in front of the entire internet, and people everywhere were watching. The conversation spread fast. Talk shows, podcasts, blogs, and commentators all jumped in with opinions. Some said Tip went too far by getting physical with his son. Others argued that King needed to show more respect to his father. Even people outside hip-hop culture started weighing in, turning the moment into a bigger discussion about parenting, masculinity, and what tough love really means today. But what made this situation different from other celebrity family conflicts was how real it felt. There were no public relations filters, no carefully written statements, and no reality show edits to smooth things over. It was simply the honest clash between a father and son, playing out in public over love, respect, and legacy. Messy, emotional, and deeply human. The kind of moment that made people pause and think about their own families, their own pride, and how far they would go to protect both. And that's exactly what made the moment so powerful. Behind the flashy clothes and designer outfits, what people really saw was something every family understands. That messy tug of war between a parent trying to guide and a kid trying to grow. It was real life, unfiltered, imperfect, and painfully human. Then came the twist nobody saw coming. Just a few days later, T.Y. and King were spotted together again, smiling and standing side by side like nothing had happened. The photo appeared online out of nowhere. No caption, no explanation, no long statement, just a single picture. And instantly, the internet exploded all over again. Fans were divided. Nobody knew what to think. Was this real peace? Was it simple damage control? Or was it something deeper? Maybe a father and son realizing that love hits harder than pride. Whatever the truth was, that moment spoke louder than words. It showed something deeper than fame, clout, or headlines. It showed that family can still stand even when it's bruised, imperfect, stubborn, loud, and real. And maybe that's why people couldn't stop watching. In a world filled with staged drama, polished apologies, and perfectly edited lives, T.I. and King showed something different, something raw, something human. They reminded people that even strong families go through painful moments when pride and love collide. And sometimes the hardest battles aren't fought in the streets or inside recording studios. Sometimes they happen at home. What happened in that Falcon suite became bigger than just Another viral clip. It turned into a moment that showed what family looks like in the social media era. Because behind every live stream and every trending topic, there's still real emotion involved. We live in a time where one tap can turn a private argument into public drama. And the world watched it unfold when King Harris stood his ground and refused to back down. He didn't bite his tongue, didn't stay quiet, and didn't hold his feelings back like people usually expect celebrity kids to do. Nah, King Harris matched his father's energy head-on, and the way the tension filled the air made it obvious this wasn't their first clash. There were deeper layers to this moment. You could feel it. This wasn't just words flying during a heated argument. It was about a question that has followed King ever since the world learned his name. Is King Harris really his own man, or is he just living inside the success that his father built? That's the battle he's been facing. The silver spoon talk, the Nepo baby label, the whispers that everything he has was handed to him instead of earned. Those kinds of comments don't fade easily, especially when they're not just coming from strangers online, but from someone close to you. And when the one person whose approval matters the most starts questioning your identity, those words cut deeper than any diss track ever could. You could hear it clearly in King's voice, a shaky mix of anger, frustration, and hurt, all colliding at once. He wasn't trying to win the moment with calm logic. His emotions were moving faster than his thoughts could keep up. He kept repeating himself, stumbling over his words, not because he was trying to argue perfectly, but because he was fighting to be heard. He was fighting to be seen. King knows exactly who his father is, a man who faced serious legal battles, rebuilt his reputation, and stood strong through situations most people couldn't imagine. But King also knows he's trying to figure out who he is too. A young man determined to carve out his own path and prove to the world he's more than just his last name, more than just T.Y.'s son. And in that live moment, with millions of people watching when his father challenged him and questioned whether he was built the same way, that sense of identity started to crack under pressure. The weight of expectations came crashing down right there on camera. The stuttering, the overlapping words, the overlapping, shaky tone in his voice. That wasn't weakness. That was emotion. That's what it sounds like when pride and pain collide at the same time. Because when the person you care about most, the one whose approval you've been chasing your entire life, looks you in the eye and questions who you are, it hits deep. It doesn't just sting, it shakes something inside you. And that moment played out live in front of millions of viewers, scrolling on their phones, watching from their timelines, their couches, and their living rooms. It wasn't just another viral video. It was a real glimpse into what generational pressure, legacy, and family expectations look like when they collide. That's when the world realized this wasn't simply a father correcting his son. It was a powerful clash between generations, legacy, and love. A reminder that even strong families can face difficult moments when pride gets louder than understanding. And in the middle of it all, King stood there, making it clear. He was determined to stand on his own. Those 4 words became the defining line of the entire moment. It wasn't just something King said. It turned into his anthem, his declaration that he wanted to stand on his own. His way of telling the world and his father that he didn't see himself as soft, spoiled, or just a privileged kid pretending to be tough. That single sentence carried everything. His pride, his frustration, and his hunger to finally be taken seriously. Every young man eventually reaches a moment where he looks his father in the eye and says he's his own person. For most people, that conversation happens privately behind closed doors, but for King, it happened live with the entire internet watching. Screenshots spread instantly, and reactions poured in from everywhere. What started as a heated argument quickly escalated. In seconds, the tension turned physical. Someone pushed, emotions spiked, and T.I. reacted on instinct, grabbing his son and pulling him into a headlock that would soon circle the internet worldwide. It was a moment driven by emotion, a mix of concern, frustration, and the pressure of the situation. In that split second, Tip wasn't the rapper, the businessman, or the celebrity people recognize. He was just a father trying to regain control of a situation that was spinning out of control. And that short clip, only a few seconds long, quickly became one of the most replayed moments of 2023. Millions of views, endless debates, nonstop commentary across the internet. You could see the emotion written all over Tip's face, the exhaustion, the frustration, and the weight of the moment. He wasn't trying to hurt his son. He was trying to protect him, trying to stop King from saying or doing something that could turn a tense moment into something unforgettable for all the wrong reasons. But the optics were rough. A Grammy-winning rapper, a man who had faced federal charges, industry pressure, and street conflicts, was suddenly caught on camera grappling with his own son in a luxury suite at an NFL game, surrounded by fans holding up phones from every direction. That single image flipped the entire narrative instantly. Suddenly, this wasn't about music or family pride anymore. It became a global headline. Commentators analyzed it, fans argued about it, and the internet turned the moment into a full meme factory. In the middle of the chaos, Tiny, desperate to calm things down, stepped between them, pulling father and son apart before the situation could go any further. You could see the emotion on her face, part motherly instinct, part heartbreak, watching two people she loved most clash in a way no parent ever wants to witness. That moment, frozen in clips, screenshots, and headlines, became more than just a viral family argument. It turned into a mirror showing how messy and human even the most powerful families can be, when love, pride, and legacy collide under the brightest spotlight imaginable. For a split second, the whole suite went quiet. That heavy, awkward silence, and the kind that follows right after something intense, filled the air. The energy shifted instantly from shouting to shock. It felt like everyone in that room suddenly realized how far the situation had gone. But King wasn't finished speaking his truth. Minutes later, he jumped on Instagram stories and posted messages filled with pain, pride, and defiance. He wrote about how nobody could step to him and even hinted that some people in his own family viewed him as a mistake. That part hit hard because it didn't sound like simple anger anymore. It sounded like heartbreak spilling out in real time. You could tell this wasn't just about that one night. It was years of tension, pressure, and misunderstanding finally boiling over. It felt like King had reached a breaking point, a mix of rebellion, hurt, and searching for his own identity, all colliding under the brightest spotlight possible. And the whole world was watching, stuck between sympathy, shock, and disbelief, realizing this wasn't just viral family drama. This was a father and son caught in a struggle between love and legacy, playing out live in front of millions. Those posts didn't stay online for long. King deleted them quickly, but by then the internet had already done what it always does. Screenshots, archives, and reposts everywhere. Within hours, every gossip page, hip-hop blog, and meme account had the evidence. The story spread everywhere. When I finally responded, his tone was calm, controlled, and professional. Classic Tip. He told the public to mind their business and made it clear that what happened between him and his son was family business, not something for the internet to debate. No amount of speculation or online noise was going to change that. But even after that, the conversation didn't slow down. Comment sections stayed heated. Podcasts kept breaking down every moment, and old stories started resurfacing. One of the biggest was a report from 2022 about an alleged tense moment between father and son at a Waffle House. To some people, it looked like another sign that this tension had been building for years. A cycle of pride, frustration, and love spinning between two people who clearly care about each other but struggle to meet in the middle. At the heart of everything was one undeniable truth. King's strong desire for independence and T.I.'s determination to guide him had never fully been resolved. And the same storm kept circling back again. Generation versus generation, pride versus patience, love versus ego. Even after that headlock moment in front of millions, King didn't fold. He stayed firm. Still standing on business, still claiming his authenticity, still determined to prove he's real on his own terms. That kind of fire, that refusal to bow down. even to his own father, showed exactly where King's mindset was. He wasn't backing down. Not from the memes, not from the critics, and definitely not from the pressure that comes with his last name. The whole situation was messy, emotional, and raw, but it was also human. Because what people were watching wasn't a perfect family falling apart. It was a real family trying to figure each other out under pressure most people could never imagine. And through all the chaos, one thing became obvious. This was bigger than fame, bigger than image, and bigger than hip-hop. This was about a son fighting to be recognized, and a father trying to hold together the world he spent years building. And if you stayed locked in through this entire story, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, share it with someone, and drop your thoughts in the comments. Let me know what you think about this situation. And I'll see you in the next one.